Okay, let's dive into this. If you're learning English, or maybe you're planning a trip to an English-speaking place, there's one spot you'll definitely hit up again and again.
Let me guess, the coffee shop.
Exactly, the coffee
Yeah.
shop. And that moment at the counter, that interaction, it's a really key point for using your language
Oh,
skills.
absolutely. And honestly, it
Mm.
can be one of the fastest, maybe most intimidating bits of communication you have all day.
Right. Especially for someone learning, that quick exchange, maybe during the morning rush.
Mm,
It can feel a bit like a pop quiz you didn't study for.
totally. You walk in, smell the coffee, which is great, but then the barista hits you with that quick, "Hi, what can I get for you?" And boom, all those sentences you practice just like vanish.
They do. So our mission today is pretty straightforward. We're going to try and take the stress out of that whole interaction.
Hmm.
We've been looking at a structured lesson plan that focuses on these exact kinds of real-world, everyday conversations. High stakes, almost.
Yeah, the ones that happen fast.
Exactly. And we're pulling out the specific phrases you really need. The goal is to give you the confidence, not just to get by, but to actually master ordering. Anything you want, size, customizations, the works, easily and importantly, politely.
Yeah, we're basically breaking down the whole thing
Yeah.
step by step, thinking about the questions you'll probably get asked
Right.
and prepping the exact phrases you need to answer clearly. So hopefully by the end of this deep dive, you'll feel pretty comfortable with the language and kind of the rhythm of the coffee shop chat.
Perfect. Okay, let's start right at the beginning. The moment you walk up to that counter. So you walk in, head to the counter, the barista catches your eye. What are those first words you're likely to hear? The signal that, okay, it's your turn.
It's almost always some kind of greeting, followed by an invitation for you to order. The most common ones are probably variations of, "Hi, what can I get for you today?"
Or maybe something a bit more casual.
Yeah, like, "Hello, are you ready to order?" Or if it's really busy, sometimes just quick, "Next, please," which, just means step forward into you.
Okay. And the key thing for you, the customer, is to respond politely, right? Confirm you're ready, but don't just jump into demanding the coffee. What's that smooth opening?
You should definitely return the greeting. A simple, polite hello or hi there. Then you slide right into the main ordering phrase. The absolute gold standard is, "Yes, please, I'd like it."
Ah, that I'd like.
Yes, that construction, "I'd like." It's a huge cultural marker.
Yeah.
It signals respect, politeness in these kinds of service situations. We'll definitely talk more about why that specific phrasing matters so much later.
Got it. So I'd like is kind of like your verbal safety net. It's clear, polite, gets the message across without sounding like you're barking orders. Okay, so you've used that phrase. Now you actually have to say what you want.
Right.
The barista needs basically three key pieces of info right away: size, temperature, and the type of drink. Let's do sizes first, because just saying I'd like a coffee isn't quite enough, is it?
No, that'll always get you a follow-up question. What size? So you absolutely need to add an adjective. Now, some big chains have their own fancy words.
Like Paulo Gran Venti. Yeah.
Exactly. But in most independent coffee shops and lots of other places, the standard words are just small, medium, and large.
Okay. Simple enough.
And you might sometimes hear regular used instead of medium, so just be aware of that possibility. I'd like a regular latte means medium.
Good tip. What if someone freezes, though? Maybe they're used to a different size system or they just blank. Is there a way to ask?
Well, if you can see the cups or a menu with sizes, you could always point and say, "The one that size, please."
Yeah.
That works.
Okay.
But if you want to practice the English, you could ask, "What are your sizes?" Or maybe, "What size is the medium?" if you're trying to compare it. But honestly, just confidently saying small, medium, or large sounds really proficient. Like, "I'd like a medium latte." Done.
Perfect. Okay. Size sorted. Next up, temperature. This is crucial, especially, depending on the weather, but also just to avoid that instant question back from the barista.
Oh, yeah. You have to specify hot or iced. And here's a little nuance we noticed looking at common phrases. Some learners mix up iced with just cold.
Ah, okay. How so?
When you say iced, you're specifically asking for a cold drink with ice cubes in it. If you want something that's just chilled, like maybe a bottled juice, or sometimes a specific cold brew coffee, which is brewed differently, without heat, you might need to be more specific.
Mm.
But honestly, for 90% of coffee orders, it's either hot or iced.
Right. And that difference between iced coffee and hot coffee is non-negotiable. If you leave it out, they will ask you,
Every time.
which just speeds things up and can add to the stress if you're not ready. So getting comfortable saying, "Can I have an iced coffee?" or "I'd like a hot cappuccino, please," is really important.
And that leads us right into the types of coffee. Because coffee shops offer more than just, plain black coffee. Knowing the names of the common drinks is pretty essential.
Yeah, maybe we should quickly touch on the main ones. Like if someone orders a latte versus a cappuccino, what are they actually getting? Helps with confidence, I think.
That's a great point. Knowing makes ordering feel less like guesswork. So a latte is mostly milk. It's espresso mixed with a good amount of steamed milk and usually just a very thin layer of foam on top.
Okay, milky.
Right. A cappuccino, on the other hand, is all about the layers. Traditionally, it's equal parts espresso, steamed milk, and then a really thick, rich layer of milk foam on top. So if you love that foamy texture, cappuccino is your drink. If you prefer it smoother, more milky, go for the latte.
And then there's just plain espresso.
Yep, a strong, concentrated shot of coffee. Or just coffee, which usually means standard drip or brewed filter coffee.
Got it. That clarity really helps. Now, what about food? Coffee shops almost always have snacks, pastries. How do you add that to your order without making it confusing?
They usually have the classics, right? Muffins, cookies, croissants, maybe some simple breakfast things.
Okay.
The easiest way is just to connect it clearly to your drink order using and, or maybe all, for example. And can I also have a blueberry muffin? Or even simpler, add a croissant, please. Keep it straightforward.
Okay, let's try putting it all together. A simple, clear, full order showing how these basics work efficiently. I'll go. I'd like a large hot latte, please, and a cranberry scoop.
Perfect. See?
Mm.
You included size, temperature, type, added a snack, used I'd like, and finished with please. If you can nail that one-sentence structure, you've basically handled the whole initial ordering part really well.
All right, so you've got the basic order down. That's huge. But the next level of coffee shop fluency, I guess, is customization. This is where things get interesting.
It really is, and customization is pretty much the norm now, isn't it?
Yeah.
It often starts with the milk. Like you said earlier, it's not just about skim or whole milk anymore.
Not at all.
You really need to know how to ask for the alternatives. The big three right now seem to be almond milk, oat milk, and soy milk.
And the phrasing here is important too, right? You want to kind of weave it into the order itself, not tack it on awkwardly at the end.
Exactly. Practice saying it like part of the drink name. For instance, I'd like a medium cappuccino with oat milk, please. Or, can I have an iced latte using almond milk? Make it flow.
Okay. And culturally, these options are super common now, but there's a practical point we should mention.
Ah, yes. The cost. It's a really critical detail we notice. There's almost always an extra charge for alternative milks.
Right. It's not a surprise tactic, it's just the reality.
Exactly. It's a common thing in coffee shops. So when they tell you the total price, don't be shocked if it's maybe 50 cents or $1 higher than the base price listed. They aren't trying to trick you. It's just the cost of that specific ingredient.
Managing that expectation is so important for a learner, avoids confusion at the till. Okay, moving past milk, what about other changes, like flavor or strength?
Yeah, simple modifiers work great here. Use extra if you want more of something, maybe extra foam or extra chocolate syrup in a mocha with extra chocolate syrup.
Okay.
And use no if you want something left out entirely. Common ones are sugar or whipped cream. I'd like a large latte with no sugar, for example.
Got it. And what about people who like to add their own sugar or cream at the little station? There's a specific way to ask for that, isn't there? It sounds a bit odd if you haven't heard it.
Yes, the phrase is on the side.
Yeah.
It sounds kind of strange, literally,
Yeah.
but it's a very common, polite way to ask for something separately so you can add it yourself.
So you'd say,
You can say, can I have some sugar on the side, please? Or maybe, could I get a little milk for my coffee on the side? It just means you want it separate, maybe in a little container or packet.
Yeah.
Shows you're comfortable handling it yourself.
Okay, on the side. Good one to remember. Now, let's loop back to that politeness thing we mentioned with I'd like. Why is it so important to use I'd like or can I have instead of just saying I want?
This really gets to the heart of sort of cultural norms in English service interactions. Saying I want a coffee can sound quite demanding, maybe even a little rude, depending on the tone.
A bit blunt?
Yeah, blunt is a good word. It bypasses this sort of implied request structure. I'd like, on the other hand, is what we call a conditional phrase. It softens the request, makes it sound more like a preference you're hoping they can fulfill.
Oh.
It shows a bit of deference, respect for the person serving you. In English, especially British and American English, we tend to put a high value on softening direct requests, particularly with service staff. It's really the difference between sounding like you're giving an order and sounding like a polite customer.
That makes so much sense. It's not just grammar, it's social lubricant, like you said earlier. Okay, great point.
Mm.
So we've got the personalized drink sorted. Now, the context. Where are you actually going to drink this thing? Which brings us to that absolute classic coffee shop question.
The inevitable, for here or to go.
Yes. This question dictates everything about how they package your order.
Absolutely, it's a key moment. If you plan to sit down, maybe relax, use one of their ceramic mugs, you need to clearly say, for here, please.
Okay.
But if you're rushing out, heading to work, and need it in a paper cup with a lid, you say, to go, please. Or sometimes you might hear, take away or take out, but to go is probably the most common in the U.S.
Right. And based on our review, trying to just point or gesture when asked this question, it often just causes confusion, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really does. It's much faster and clearer just to use the actual words. They know exactly what you mean then.
Okay, let's try expanding that little role play we did. I'll order again, maybe add a customization, and you can ask me the context question.
Sounds good. I'm the barista again. Hello there, welcome. What can I get started for you today?
Hi. I'd like a large iced latte with oat milk, please.
Okay, one large iced oat latte. Got it. Will there be anything else for you? Maybe a pastry with that?
Oh, no thank you. Just the latte is good.
All right. And is that for here or to go?
To go, please.
C, smooth. When you have those key phrases, ready size, temp, customization like the oat milk, and then the context, to go, the whole exchange just flows really nicely. That's starting to feel like mastery.
Yeah, that felt good. Okay, so that smooth ordering leads us right to the final steps, paying up. The order's in, it's customized, now it's time for the transaction. The barista needs to tell you the damage.
Right. They'll state the price clearly, usually adding please, again, just as a polite convention. Something like, okay, that'll be $7.25, please, or maybe your total comes to $9.50.
And then they often ask,
Then comes the practical question to guide payment. Cash or card?
simple enough, how should we respond clearly?
Just state your preference directly. I'll pay with cash is perfectly clear. Or if you're using plastic, you could say, can I pay by card?
Or even shorter.
Yeah, honestly, just saying the method often works fine, especially if they ask cash or card. Just saying card, please, is totally normal and quick.
Okay, but we're in the modern world now. Lots of people aren't pulling out cash or cards. We need to talk about phones and watches.
Oh, absolutely. Paying with your phone or a digital wallet is super common. You don't want to be fumbling awkwardly. The phrase is pretty simple.
Which is?
You can just ask, can I pay with my phone?
Yeah.
Or even more directly, pointing towards the terminal, can I just tap?
Ah, tap. Good one.
Yeah, the barista will then usually guide you, maybe turn the payment terminal towards you and say something like, yep, go right ahead, or sure, just tap here. Knowing that phrase, can I pay with my phone, or can I tap, just avoids that little moment of hesitation.
Definitely. Okay, so payments handled. But maybe you're not just grabbing coffee and running. Maybe you plan to stay a while, work, relax. This means you need to know about the other essentials, the logistical questions. Let's start with the one people sometimes feel awkward asking about, the restroom.
Right, finding the facilities, it's essential. Because you're usually interrupting the staff to ask, it's always best to start with, excuse me.
Politeness first.
Always. So, excuse me, where is the restroom? That's the standard. Depending where you are, you might hear people say bathroom, maybe washroom, particularly in Canada, or even loo in the UK, or sometimes toilet. But honestly, restroom or bathroom are universally understood and always sound polite.
Good to know. Okay, restroom located. Next up, for many people, is getting online. Settling in to work or browse means needing Wi-Fi.
Yes, this is a super useful set of phrases for any learner planning to use coffee shops as a workspace. First, you need to confirm if they even have it.
How do you ask that?
Simple questions like, do you have Wi-Fi? Or maybe, is there free Wi-Fi here? Usually the answer is yes these days, but it's good to check.
And if they say yes, you need the crucial follow-up, which can sometimes feel surprisingly tricky to ask for.
Exactly, you need the password to actually connect.
So what's the phrase?
The most direct and simple request is, what's the Wi-Fi password? Or, to be extra polite and clear maybe, could I please get the Wi-Fi password?
And how do they usually give it to you?
Often, they'll have it printed on a little card. Or, sometimes it's actually printed right on your receipt. Or might just point to a sign somewhere on the wall. But knowing those two questions, do you have Wi-Fi and what's the password, means you can basically turn any coffee shop into your temporary office.
Super useful. Okay, last logistical thing. Seating. Sometimes coffee shops look packed. Are there rules? Do you need to ask?
Generally, no. If you see an empty chair or table, you can usually just sit down. It's pretty informal. You don't typically need permission.
But what if it looks really full, or maybe you see reserved signs?
Right. If it looks incredibly busy or you notice reserved tables, then a quick check is definitely polite. You could ask a staff member, are there any tables available? Or if you're eyeing a specific spot where someone just left, you could ask someone nearby, excuse me, is this table taken?
Ah, okay. Better than just hovering awkwardly with your hot drink.
Exactly. It just makes the whole process smoother and more comfortable.
Okay, we've covered a lot of ground. Now let's talk about confidence and really drill down again on that politeness factor. It's kind of the hidden rule, isn't it?
It really is. It's like the oil in the conversational gears. As we've stressed, just barking, I want a coffee, can sound pretty harsh. Using those softer phrases, I'd like, can I have, or even the slightly more formal, may I have, makes a world of difference.
And the magic words.
Always add a please at the end of your request. And definitely a thank you when you receive your order or pay. It seems basic, but it smooths the whole interaction. Honestly, a genuine smile and a thank you really do go a long way. Makes the experience better for everyone.
That's such critical advice. Because often, when you're nervous, maybe struggling with the language, the tendency is to shorten everything, right? Keep it minimal. But that's exactly when you risk sounding abrupt or unintentionally rude.
Precisely. Keep the politeness markers in, even if you keep the rest simple. Another little snag we sometimes see with learners is fumbling those location words for here and to go.
How so?
They might mix them up, or hesitate, or try to just point instead of using the words. Our advice, just commit to learning and using the phrases for here and to go clearly every single time. It avoids any confusion.
Okay. Now, let's shift to troubleshooting. What happens if things don't go smoothly? Maybe the customer is nervous, or perhaps the barista is speaking really fast, or has an accent that's hard to understand. What should the customer do? The key is not to panic or feel embarrassed, right?
Absolutely not. Don't ever feel shy about needing clarification. The barista is there to serve you. They want you to get what you want. There are specific polite phrases you can use.
Such as?
You can simply say, could you please repeat that? Or even better sometimes, because it gives context, is, sorry, can you speak a little slower, please? I'm still learning English.
Ah, adding that last part is smart.
Yeah. It immediately explains the situation and usually earns you a lot of patience and understanding. They'll likely slow down right away. And if you didn't catch a specific word, maybe the name of a pastry, you could ask, could you please spell that for me?
Good backup. And how will the barista typically respond if they sense a customer is unsure or struggling a bit?
They're usually pretty good at picking up on cues. They'll naturally slow down their own speech. They might also shift to using simpler, maybe binary questions to help guide you through the choices you missed.
Like breaking it down.
Exactly. They might ask very clearly, okay, would you like that hot or iced? Or was that small, medium, or large? They're basically simplifying the process step by step to make sure you get the right order without feeling overwhelmed.
That's reassuring. Okay, so once you've mastered the basics and feel that confidence growing, you can actually start to move beyond just the transaction, maybe even have a little interaction.
Yes. This is where it gets more fun, turning it from just ordering into a small social moment. If you feel like trying something new but don't know what, why not ask the expert behind the counter?
How would you phrase that?
You can simply ask, what do you recommend? Or maybe, what's popular today? It shows you trust their judgment. It often opens up a brief, friendly chat. And hey, you might discover your new favorite drink.
That's a great idea. And those kinds of questions often lead naturally into another big part of the coffee shop scene.
The seasonal stuff.
Yes, the specials.
Seasonal drinks are huge.
Right.
You know, maybe a special fruity iced tea in the summer or the classic pumpkin spice latte that takes over every fall. You can ask about these directly.
Yeah.
Try something like, do you have any seasonal drinks right now? Or are there any holiday specials? Being able to ask about and discuss these shows, you're kind of tuned into the local coffee culture.
Nice. Okay, one last thing to be ready for. That unexpected question. The one that isn't about milk or sugar, but about the business itself. The curveball.
Ah, yes. You need to be prepared for the very common question. Are you part of our loyalty program?
The loyalty card.
Exactly. Or maybe it's an app now. It's usually a system where you collect points or digital stamps each time you buy something, working towards a free drink or a discount later on.
So how do you answer?
If you're not interested or don't have it, a simple and polite no thank you is perfect. If you're a part of it or want to join, you'd say yes please or yes I am, and then probably show them your card or phone app. Just knowing what that question means prevents that deer-in-the-headlights moment.
Wow, okay. We've really covered the whole journey, haven't we? From the second you walk in, getting the polite order right, even with oat milk, paying smoothly with your phone, asking for the Wi-Fi, and even handling those little bumps in communication.
We really have broken down pretty much every key step. And the main thing, honestly, the thing we keep coming back to is just to try. Use the phrases. Even if it's not perfect, the very act of ordering in English is a success.
So if someone listening could only take away one single piece of overarching advice from everything we've discussed today, what should it be?
I think the core advice is pretty simple. Lean on those politeness markers. Start your request with, I'd like. Always, always use please. And never underestimate the power of a simple smile and a thank you. That positive attitude, combined with clear, simple phrasing, is genuinely all you need to get started. You build your confidence from there, one sentence at a time.
That is fantastic practical advice. And just quickly, for practice tips, remember, listening is powerful. If you're in line at a coffee shop, maybe put your phone away for a minute. Just listen to how native speakers order. Notice their speed, the words they use, the rhythm. You can absorb a lot just passively like that. Or, as you said, practice the phrases out loud yourself. Role play it.
Yeah, practicing a lot really helps reduce the thinking time when you're actually standing there under a bit of pressure.
Yeah.
Knowing the flow beforehand makes a huge difference.
Definitely. Now, before we wrap this up, we talked quite a bit about customization, especially that big shift towards alternative milks, almond, soy, oat, and others. These have gone from being kind of niche, specialty things to just standard stock. And for many people, they're becoming the default choice, which maybe reflects something broader about our values now.
That's a really interesting sociological point, isn't it? What we choose to put in our coffee can say a lot maybe about environmental awareness or dietary choices, health concerns, or even just wanting a different taste.
Exactly. Which brings us to our final provocative thought for you, the listener, to maybe mull over after this deep dive, perhaps during your next coffee run. Here it is. What specific alternative milk option, if you had to pick one, do you think is subtly becoming the new default standard in coffee shops, especially maybe in more urban areas? Is dairy slowly being nudged aside as the assumed base? And why might the rise of that particular option, whether it's oat or almond or maybe something else, entirely reflect a deeper cultural shift in how we think about our food, our consumption, and maybe even sustainability?
Ooh, that's a great question to ponder. It really connects the everyday act of ordering coffee to much bigger trends.
It does. Something to think about.
Well, fantastic discussion. Keep practicing those phrases, everyone. Stay confident and happy learning.
Absolutely. We'll catch you next time for another deep dive.